Welcome to the Omni Stage. Welcome to our final session of day one of Event Tech Live, USA and Canada 2021. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our final host of the day. Looking at a session called Immersive Entertainment, the new special source. It's a pleasure to welcome Mr. Kevin Williams here, Director at KWP. Kevin, very warm welcome to Event Tech Live.
Thank you very much for having me. I hope that everybody is going to be happy with the wait to hear this presentation. It sounds like it's been a very interesting day for you guys.
Loads of great content so far, Kevin, and I'm sure you're going to bring day one to a fabulous conclusion. Over to you, and I'll be back soon with some questions.
Thank you. Well, good evening, good afternoon, and good morning, depending on where everybody is today. I'm lucky enough to work in the out-of-home entertainment sector, and it was decided that it would be a good idea to have me come and present and to give you a rundown, really, of some of the special sauce, the new technology that we're using in the market. A little bit about myself. My name's Kevin Williams. I run KWP, which is a consultancy that works with developers, operators, and investors in the out-of-home entertainment sector. I also publish a scurrilous news service called the Stinger Report that goes into the detail of some of the things that I'm going to be touching upon today. Also, I get to do a lot of presentations on this sector, though I seem to be doing most of those from my home office at the moment, like we all are doing. But anyway, so let me get into the beginning of this presentation. So fundamentally, we're looking at a technology that has been able to really find itself in the out-of-home entertainment sector. We all know virtual reality, but most of us wouldn't be familiar with that virtual reality can trace its roots really back to the 90s in the amusement sector. And immersive technology, which is really the fundamentals of what I'm going to be touching upon today, can trace itself back even further than that. For the sakes of this presentation, I'm going to try and break down the technologies into their key areas. We've treated these as a kind of a phase grouping over the previous years. And what it is the interactive entertainment sector has embraced the digital sector, and we're coming up with mediums or entertainment platforms that can be compelling and interesting to the audiences that we're attracting. You know, we're dealing with the reality, facilities, physical things. You leave your home, you go to an entertainment site, be it a casino, be it retail entertainment, be it a theme park, be it an amusement facility, be it even a museum. All of these areas are incorporating an interactive entertainment element to them. And the technology that's being implied into those areas is a unique approach to the sector. It is more than just turning a space into a game console. It is turning the experience as a compelling repeat visitation experience, which draws an audience. So here you see the kind of systems that we're putting into the larger parks. It is an audience interactive gaming experience where the people are shooting at the screen has various activities on board, and they're pulled into the experience. That has been scaled down and now is applied in interactive amusement systems. So we are going for the big experience, and we're now scaling it down for 2, 4, 6-player experiences. And you'll recognize here that we're using the latest licenses, the latest IPs in these products. The IP is as important as the game for some products, though, as a developer and a consultant, I'm a little bit skeptical that you can cover up a bad game with a big IP. I still feel that for audience appeal, having a recognized film, movie IP adds a lot of gravitas to the product and also helps draw the audience to the experience. So I've kind of shown you the first of the phases of development, moving forward with the application of virtual reality. And we in the sector have been faced with a market where originally we were taking consumer products off the shelf, repurposing them for application in out-of-home entertainment. That has migrated now, and luckily due to the stickiness of the technology, the manufacturers are now more prepared to treat out-of-home entertainment as an opportunity, as a market that they can put investment into. And if you can see there, I've split the areas of the products that we're using from that sector into two groups. There's the standalone systems, which allow us a wireless experience, and then we have the tethered high-end systems. But you'll see that there's also some new innovations even to those descriptions. Initially, again, film properties have played their part in the establishment of this technology. We see here the Mummy film IP creating a unique virtual reality experience which an audience could sit and perceive themselves directly involved in the film. It is a pop-up attraction. It is an installation that uses immersive technology, but also it's a technology that could be deployed for different films or, in many cases, used as a museum platform. We were lucky enough here in the UK to have the Saatchi Gallery that installed the Positron simulation system for a Tutankhamun experience. Again, if you're going to develop immersive entertainment, then why not utilize the technology that already exists? And so we've had companies that have added virtual reality to roller coasters rather than pull down your $40 million roller coaster when it's had a long life. Here, add a little bit of virtual reality to it, and suddenly you've got a new lease of life for your theme park attraction. And again, at the click of a mouse, it can be a different type of experience. It can be seasonal, and also it can be linked to advertising and promotion. Haven't got space for a roller coaster in your facility, then use the latest of the robotic arm entertainment systems. Again, the virtual reality experience has been specially created to offer a unique VR coaster, and the robot arm achieves all of the physical cues that you would get if you were actually riding the real thing. Got a roller coaster, add some VR. Got a robot arm, add some VR. Got a flat ride, add some VR. Got bumper cars, add some VR. And we're lucky enough to have worked with our friends at Spree, who have developed a very unique what we would call a interactive experience that is plugged directly into a digital bumper car. And so the bumper car developed by IE Parks, a veteran of the market, has developed an experience that is totally compelling. And it is that kind of approach that then leads to the next development of the technology, which is into motion rides. The amusement machine is a unique beast. It is a standalone device, and so being able to have it in a virtual reality in a package that can be delivered simply to the audience has seen us develop the what I would call the two-person interactive ride experience, where many people just see this as virtual reality as an arcade system. And we have had companies like LAI develop the virtual rabbits. We have companies like Triotech that have developed their system. And now we're seeing a whole plethora of these kinds of systems being deployed into the market as standalone VR experiences. You go up, you sit on the motion seat, you put the headset, and you're sucked into the game experience. And again, you're noticing that the game experience is using a well-known IP. Have a swimming pool, have a flume ride, why not add some VR to it? You think I'm mad? Well, no, we have now waterproof virtual reality experiences, and they can be married up to the experience that you have on the flume ride. So rather than heading down the tube, you're in a space or fantasy experience, and the same with the swimming pool. Put the virtual reality system on, put the headset on, turn on the water jets, and suddenly the experience, you're at the bottom of the barrier reef, or you're floating through space through the International Space Station. It is experiential, and it is also the ability to monetize that kind of space towards utilizing entertainment. Moving on, and our sector never sleeps, and we've taken the concept and moved it on and on and on. And now the latest applications see tethered four-player experiences. One of the most successful of these VR enclosures is provided by Hologate. And of course, this company has been involved with major licenses of the application. They have created 4-player and 8-player versions of this, and they are now moving on to the next generation of technology by using virtual reality linked to motion simulators to create racing experiences that are highly immersive. That enclosure system is versatile, and a number of manufacturers find that system as a compelling environment to drop into their audience. The ability to either entertain 4 or 6 or 8 players at the same time is unique to our sector, and it is much more than the solitary experience that you would with a consumer application. Again, IP. Again, IP. Here you see the Transformers IP being used by our friends at Major Mega to create a unique experience. I keep on saying experience, I keep on saying unique, but for the audience that we're attracting to our entertainment facilities, most of them have never used virtual reality. Most of them that do have virtual reality have very small consumer systems which do not have the same kind of power that they're going to be experiencing with the dedicated machines. And we're also dealing with a younger audience. Our friends at Spree, along with their bumper car virtual reality system, also produce an enclosure system that offers young players a wireless game experience using the latest standalone VR headset. Ones at Major Mega have developed the Hyperdeck, which marries physical experiences with so you have the air blowing at you, you have the vibrating floor, you have the heat lamps, you have the full feedback. So it is becoming a full theme park experience. It is still an enclosure, it is still multiplayer, but it is a much more intense experience for the players. And that intensity has been ramped up with the latest developments in our sector that see free roaming. You put on the backpack PC, you have the head-mounted display, you have a special arena that is set up for the players, and they do battle with the zombies or they do battles with the killer Santas. But that free roaming experience is like no other that most people have experienced through virtual reality, and it allows multiplayer experiences. Dreamscape is another company that produces this, and of course our friends at Sandbox VR, they have about 15 facilities dotted across North America and Asia. You don't have the space. You can't really fit in a free roaming experience into your facility. Well, now it is available in a container that can go into your parking lot. The mobile entertainment experience is now a feature of the recovering market. Our market, as we bounce back after lockdown across the sector, are looking at more and more ways to deal with the staycation audience. And it is important that that immersive entertainment brings a big theme park kind of experience to the audience. I talked about virtual reality, and now let's touch upon augmented reality. We have a number of companies that are allowing the latest of the augmented screen and head-mounted systems to be incorporated into PvP, player versus player experiences, and that is incorporating esports into that. And I'll touch on competition games in a minute. You have the bumper car where you're blindfolded in the VR experience. Well, maybe you use the augmented reality system, and in this case, the power-ups, the bombs, the oil slicks, the score are represented through your vision, through the head display. While the world around you is real. This is augmented reality. This is superimposing computer imagery on top of the experience. And here you see not only the zombie shooting, not only the player versus player, not only the Mario Kart style game, but also the more relaxed atmosphere, creating art exhibits that use augmented reality, where the actual animations of the plants and the futuristic experience is represented with augmented reality, while the real world is shown by physical props that are laid into the facility. Augmented reality and mixed reality can also see us taking the view through the eyes of the drone. Drone racing is incredibly popular as a stream service, and now companies like Drone Interactive have developed entertainment enclosure systems that allow the novice player and the consumer a chance to enjoy that experience. I'm a consultant, and it's important that I give you the good news as well as the bad news. And the good news is that there's a wide opportunity of products, and they're very interesting. But the bad news is that they all come with a price to pay. We have to be mindful of hygiene, even more so. We have always been very mindful in our sector, but the public need to feel reassured. And also, you're dealing with individuals that's putting head-mounted displays on there, near enough blindfolding themselves. So the correct training and the correct movement and the correct layout of the facility are all essential components that single out our application of this technology to the market. I've touched on virtual reality, I've touched on augmented reality, and really we're here at XR, cross reality, mixed reality, extreme reality, whatever the alphabet soup you want to use. This is the next generation for us. This is the latest phase of development for us. We are now using the latest projection systems to create interactive digital experiences where you don't need to put on glasses. You do not need to have a head-mounted display on. Bowling industry, now appealing to the millennial, the next gen, the Gen Z audiences, are looking at the use of this kind of technology to offer a new and compelling gamification to the standard bowling experience. Don't want to put a head-mounted display on for the VR, don't want to put an augmented display on for the AR, well, then we use projection mapping and you can create that Mario Kart experience. You can have physical representations projected onto the floor of the course. The whole of the course can be a projected screen. Got a climbing wall, great exercise. Got a projection system with tracking, then you've got an augmented game experience. And now we have augmented climbing walls, which are not just fun and entertaining, but they're also able to be monetized. You can actually charge for this. They can actually become part of an esports environment. And again, the next generation of this technology is to take it to a new level, to put the individual into an experience which they haven't seen before. And so being able to animate the whole environment around them by using projection mapping, physical items, but projection maps to be animated, you can then suddenly have a shooting gallery that is easily configurable, totally digital, and unlike anything that anyone has seen before. Or you can mix the technologies. You can have the augmented reality acting as the sighting on the weapon and the environment that they're inhabiting totally created digitally. And this is really where we're heading down, the digital environment. We're sucking the individual into the game experience, not just with a head-mounted display, but using the latest projection, the latest LED systems. Remember, these technologies have a much higher pixel count than anything that we can achieve with the current virtual reality headsets at the moment. Very successful social entertainment facilities that mix tracked game experiences into a hospitality environment. We are dropping people into the game. And for those of you that are old enough to remember the last flush of this approach, the cave, the computer automated virtual environment, is a new target for the entertainment experience of the future. We've been using it in the military and training sector, and now it is being applied as an entertainment medium in our sector. I've touched upon the technologies being applied to drop people in, but I haven't really touched upon some of the game experiences that are being utilized by these next generation systems. And one of those game experiences, of course, is the popularity of esports. Esports and competition entertainment is nothing new. It is a derivation of what we've seen with tournament play. Bowling tournaments in the 50s and 60s were incredibly popular. Space Invader tournaments of the 70s, the LAN game facilities of the noughties, and now we have the mass creation of compelling entertainment systems. They are high-level competitions, that big cardboard check with zeros. They're streamed. They are social media entertainment experiences. And that fundamentally is seen as the future for competition in our sector. It is a compelling environment. Audiences watch it. Players take part of it. And the novice players attempt to emulate their superstars. And we have multiple facilities across Asia and now across America and Europe that are offering esports training, as well as esports competition arenas, and even the education services are now adding esports to the syllabus. It is a compelling, competitive entertainment environment. The ability to have virtual reality with an esports elements to it also generates a brand new audience. and esports married to virtual reality has proven to be a strong draw for the modern gamer. We offering them an environment that is totally different to what they can achieve on their home systems currently. And in Asia, obviously, we have seen esports streamed through television channels and through streaming services with full social media, and we're turning these players into mini athletes. And there will be announcements soon after the Tokyo Olympics that esports athletes and esports entertainment will be added to future investment by the Olympic Committee. I've zoomed through quite quickly the key elements of the sector. These apply to live entertainment, being dropped in as pop-up entertainment. These are part of dedicated location-based entertainment facilities, and these are part of the future entertainment landscape. And so we're seeing companies now looking at developing the kinds of experiences that bring in an audience and keep them coming back for more. So what I would like you to take really away from this presentation is that it's important that the operation model works, that the revenue stream is secure, that it is compelling content and constantly updated, and it offers a repeatability. We're not just entertaining our audience once, we want them to come back and tell their friends. As I said, I've zoomed through what is quite a complicated and detailed industry, and there are some other aspects of this market, such as artainment and the museum sector that I haven't touched upon here, but we do touch upon in the book that was created recently, and I'm working desperately on the updated manuscript for the next iteration of this. But anyway, I've taken enough of your time. I've had the honor to be able to bookend this conference, and it was hoped that there may be some questions from the audience that I could answer.
Kevin, thank you very much. And may I first of all comment on what a comfortable presenting position you seem to be in compared to many of our speakers that I've had the pleasure of speaking to today, who are all sat very formally at desks with laptops in front of them. It's brilliant, and frankly, I'm jealous that you're in such a comfortable position there. So thank you very much for joining us.
Try and achieve
a couple of things.
Sorry, I was just going to say, Jake, I wanted to achieve the fireside chat approach. That's how I like to do things. I'm sorry. Please go on. I'm sorry.
Well, it's absolutely worked. Something that I'd like to put to you. You work, and a lot of what you've spoken about there, and your own experience is clearly at the cutting edge of immersive entertainment and the immersive technology that's used to create that entertainment. And something that you mentioned there that twigged with me was that what you talk about the next generation and the next generation coming out. And something that I always think is that when the next generation comes out, particularly in this sector, it makes the current generation of equipment more accessible to organisers who previously maybe couldn't afford to use it. It wasn't within their capacity, within their budgets to be able to look at some of this. When you look at something like projection mapping, it burst on the scene, but it was really expensive to do. The cost of something like that is coming down very, very quickly and has done certainly in the last 4 or 5 years. How are you seeing the adoption of some of these immersive technologies into markets that maybe 5 or 6 years ago couldn't have entertained them?
You touch on an excellent point, which is the trickle-down effect. I suppose technology is one of the few aspects where trickle-down does actually work. We're looking at what was 10 years ago the vastly expensive projection map technology with the tracking systems are now, because of microcomputing, the new laser light projection systems, are now much more cost effective. The development costs have dropped. So it is the pioneers that created the wow factor, and it is now the operators of today that can generate the bankroll, the revenue from proven technology. It's called the bleeding edge for a reason. You know, not everybody can invest vast amounts of money and vast amounts of resource to test technology that might or might not work for their facility. But as a lot of what I do is research, it requires the audience to prove that the original application was popular and successful, and then it is for other companies to iterate and to reduce the cost to make it accessible for all.
I think it would be fair to say that there is still a significant question mark over the subject of social distancing and what's going to happen in the short, medium, and long term. And with that in mind, do you think that when it comes to developing immersive out of home experiences, that the people who are responsible for creating the content and delivering those experiences will really have to even further refine and think about what they can offer, because they may not physically have the same numbers of people that can come to, an engagement event, whether that be a new movie that's being released and they want to do an interactive theatre or something. They're going to have to really think about the content, given that numbers may be a little bit lower, so they have to offer even more to those who can come.
An excellent point. Capacity numbers. I'm dealing with across the board. I'm dealing with companies in Asia. I'm dealing with companies in the UAE. I'm dealing with companies in North America. I'm dealing with people here in England and the rest of Europe. And each one has to deal with a unique governmental and localized regime to how they're handling social distancing. Some don't have to worry about it. They've gone back to normality, as we're seeing in the UAE, normality, of course, and some are still just coming out of lockdown, like our friends in Canada. We have to be flexible. It's the one thing that I tell all of our clients is that, there's no hard and fast rules, and there is always the danger that a flare up will happen and we'll be going back to lockdown, or we'll be going down to much more controlled numbers. We need to lay out the facilities to be able to handle the best case scenarios and the worst case scenarios. We need to ensure that our staff are correctly trained and understand what's going on. And most important, we need to inform the guest what's going on. Not just a couple of signs, but now the interaction between our staff and our teams and the guests are essential. But to a point, I was lucky enough a couple of days ago to be at the Royal Ballet here in London because of the launch of a brand new virtual opera experience. And so the company had developed a backpack VR experience that puts you into scenes inspired by The Tempest. It is not your traditional arcade experience. It's not your traditional theme park experience, but it is a live event and it's a live experience that is being operated within COVID environment. So you have the QR code logins, you have the cleaning process much more ramped up, and you have, most importantly, the information to the guests of how this works, how they interact with it, and if they have any problems at all, how they can interact with the staff.
And I guess that also dispels the myth that immersive, technologically based entertainment is only for a certain demographic and only for a certain age range of people. We've lived through the last 12 months where we've seen all ages and all generations suddenly start using their smartphones when they need to go out shopping, when they need to scan a QR code somewhere. The whole myth of technology being inaccessible for an older generation and only accessible by the younger generation really needs to be thrown out the window now, because there really are opportunities right across the spectrum.
So it's been the great thing about, if you can have a great thing about a pandemic, it's the great leveler. The assumptions that were made by many people at the beginning of the lockdown process. No one wants to go to entertainment facilities, restaurants are going to go, the cinema industry is going to collapse, all of that. The reality check has come along, which is not everything is hunky-dory, but we have to address the new frictionless environment that we're dealing with. And putting on another of the caps that I have to wear, we've been doing a lot of work in e-payments and frictionless payment infrastructure for entertainment. So the day of the paper tickets when you turn up at the theme park may be coming to an end, but also the benefits of e-payment are fantastic. The ability to track and have a much more closer narrative and relationship with your staff. Working with your audience now coming to the facility after pre-registering, having a much greater understanding of what the experiences they want to do at your facilities. But for me, the best part about e-payments and frictionless payment is that we now have data about what the players like, what they like doing, and what they want to see more of. And you will see in the next couple of years the use of that data being turned around and helping to structure the next experiences, the next entertainment of the coming next phase, as it were.
Absolutely. Kevin, it's been a pleasure for you to bring day one of Event Tech Live USA and Canada to a close. Thank you for joining us from such a comfortable looking facility this evening. Thanks very much for your input. Thanks very much for that session and for answering those questions at the end. Kevin Williams, Director at KWP, looking at immersive entertainment, the news special source. Kevin, thank you very much for joining Event Tech Live.
Thank you.